All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for this being a bit late. I was busy this week, as you could tell, and it kind of slipped my mind that the newest chapter of Dragon Ball Super was supposed to actually dropped on, what was it, the 18th, which was a Wednesday. So I didn't pay attention to that. That's my fault, and I'll be more mindful of that in the future. But let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another Dragon Ball Super live chapter reaction and review. Last we left on, we were pretty much continuing with Dragon Ball Super superhero story arc, so let's see if this chapter will bring us closer to the end of that arc so we can actually go to a brand new one. Now, I know I brought this up back in September because that was the last time we had a chapter, and I don't hate Dragon Ball Super. I voiced my grievances and questions about why certain parts and certain movies weren't given full arcs, and yet Dragon Ball Super superhero was. But, I mean, it's a story, and we're just kind of dealing with it at this point. We're just kind of dealing with it. But let's begin with chapter 98. Gamma number 2's resolve. Because both Gamma 1 and 2 are deciding to, do this one thing against Cell Max, while also letting us know that Dr. Hedo is still very much alive. So we begin with Gotenks, Fat Gotenks, along with Fat Gotenks bouncing around, trying to do something to Cell Max, but Cell Max is just knocking Gotenks around. And it gets sent flying towards 18. Incoming! Watch out, Mrs. 18! Might as well put you to use! And she jumps up and then just turns Gotenks into like a human cannonball and sends him flying towards Cell Max. Oh, this works! And Gotenks winds up slamming directly into Cell Max's head hard enough to actually crack it. So even though Gotenks in this state, in their failed fusion state, still durable enough and powerful enough to at least indirectly cause damage to Cell Max. Punches and kicks don't work, but being turned into a human cannonball is pretty much enough. And Cell Max's head, like dome piece, Cell head, what do you call it? I just call it Cell Max's head, cracks because of that. And Gohan notices. Oh! And of course, Cell Max is growling because of it. And then we got 18. Even a flub fusion can come in handy. Take that, you big old... And before Gotenks can say anything, Gotenks is almost fried by this mouth blast that shoots out from Cell Max's face. Whoa! And it was enough to pretty much burn a hole in the seat of Gotenks' pants. Fat Tanks' pants, leaving some of his cheeks, exposed. Yeah! Forget what I said, goes 18. And then Cell Max starts shooting out more individual blasts from his mouth in order to try and hit Fat Tanks over, over in multiple places. And he starts running away. Yeah! And then we got Gohan. Darn, they're not dealing enough damage. Listen up, people. I've got a favor to ask. And this is Gamma 2. I need you to fire off your ranged attacks at Cell Max all at once from a safe distance. Nail any part of him he doesn't, nail any part of him. Doesn't matter. What good will something like that do? I just need him pinned down for as long as possible. Longer than last time. That'll allow me to make my big move. And when I do, make sure you get far, far away. Do you truly mean to go through with this? And this is Gamma 1 speaking to Gamma 2. You know it. My mind's made up. And then Gamma 2 starts powering up. Make it happen. and he flies off. What's this big move of his? A head-on assault. As Gamma 2 flies high into the air, high enough where he's above the altitude where Bulma, Krillin, and Pan are. And everyone is firing on Cell Max, Piccolo, Gohan, and Gamma 1.
What are they up to?
Goes Bulma.
Peppering him with pot shots all at once? I get it. They're creating an opening for the guy who flew up high. I think I need it. Stay safe!
As Krillin flies outside of the ship, the Capsule Corps ship that Bulma's flying, and we see Gamma 2, who's high above the world, like he's out in outer space right now, looking down at the place where Cell Max is. It's like a convergence of clouds if you look at the artistry on this page. And he powers up even further. And then he powers up with so much energy and then just jettisons back towards Earth, while Piccolo and Gohan and Gamma 1 continue to fire, along with Fat Tanks. Check this! Yeah, this! And even 18 is joining in. But Cell Max spits a shot at 18 and she goes, "Oh crap." And then before it even gets close to 18, we see someone go, "Kyandan!" which is, Destructo Disc! And the disc slices through Cell Max's mouth shot and completely protects 18 from being hit.
Krillin, in the nick of time, huh?
Oh, come on, forget pinning him down. Our shots are barely hitting him. Here it comes, as it shows a flash in the sky as Gamma 2 is going closer and closer and closer to Cell Max. Darn it.
Hey guys, close your eyes real quick. Cell Max, yoo-hoo, take a look at me.
As Krillin flies up to the face of Cell Max and he goes, Solar Flare! Or, Taiyo King! And he just causes a massive solar flare in the eyes of Cell Max, who, for some odd reason, decides to open his eyes really wide as this light is flashing in front of it. It's like if a light flashes in front of my eyes, I'm closing it because it's bright. But Cell Max is all like, let me open them wider. Okay. And the whole area is just enveloped in light. And then Gamma 1 goes, get away, now! And everyone flies away. And then we have Fat Tanks, who's being flown away by Gohan while he's slapping his behind, going, here's a full moon for ya! And then it shows Gamma 1 flying over to Dr. Hedo, and he's covering him. And then we see Gamma 2 getting closer and closer and closer and closer as he's fully powered up and he's just dive bombing. He's dive bombing towards Cell Max. And everyone is screaming, do it! Well, this is Piccolo going, do it! And we see in the panels the whole Red Ribbon Army secret base getting closer and closer and closer. And then we see Cell Max. And Cell Max looks up and then Piccolo goes, oh crap. And then Cell Max manages to is right there as the impact happens. And then there's like this titanic explosion that is felt by everybody. Fat Tanks gets thrown back, Piccolo and Krillin's in front of 18 to shield her as best he can, even though he can only cover pretty much her upper body because he's that short. And then we see Bulma in the distance watching this big, massive plume of smoke emanate from the point of impact. And then as it clears, it shows Cell Max, and it shows Gamma 2 that Gamma 2 managed to, with all that power, only managed to slice off one arm of Cell Max. Like, with that attack, he just sliced through the arm. And Gamma 2 looks like he's completely spent. Yeah, he's completely spent. He's burnt out. And Cell Max is screaming in pain. And then we get Krillin.
Nice one!
Not enough. He only severed one arm. And this is Piccolo. And then it shows Cell Max preparing to stomp on Gamma 2. Not on my watch! And then Piccolo goes Orange Piccolo again and runs up to him and just stops him with his hand. He just stops him from moving. But Cell Max continues to use more strength to try and squash Piccolo, who's protecting Gamma 2. And before that happens, Krillin and Gohan and Gotenks, Fat Tanks, are all firing on Cell Max's face to keep him distracted, which he then retaliates with like mouth blasts, like mouth shots all over the place. Thank you, Piccolo. Grab him fast! As Gamma 1 grabs Gamma 2 and flies away over to Dr. Hedo, who's still fine.
Piccolo! Just grow all big.
Huh?
Way back when, at the Tenkaichi Budokai, you turned into a giant.
Right. Forgot about that. And then Piccolo starts to grow in size until he's pretty much the same size as Cell Max. So not only do we have Giant Piccolo, but we have Giant Orange Piccolo. So I believe the fighting should be evenly matched right about now. And he manages to flip over Cell Max, who rights himself immediately. And he starts growling at Piccolo, who then lets out his own mouth blast and hits Cell Max with it, sending him flying into one of the buildings in the distance. And then we see Big Piccolo while Gohan's looking at him. Wow, Piccolo, you had that giant in you all along? Looks like victory is ours. Quit dreaming. Huh? Getting bigger doesn't actually make me stronger. It's mostly a bluff. Oh, right. It's harder to fight at this size. Here we go. I thought of a strategy. And he takes something out of his belt, and it's a sensu bean. I thought of a strategy. You should eat this last sensu bean. Huh? But that one was meant for you. Listen up, Gohan. You could be the world's strongest if you put your mind to it. So I'm betting it all on that power of yours. Jeez, Piccolo. Trust me. Believe in yourself and unleash everything you've got. Show us all your true power and use it to save the world. Got it. And Piccolo hands over the sensu bean over to Gohan. But before that happens, Piccolo's hand gets knocked to the side with the sensu bean still on it, so the sensu bean goes flying past Piccolo and Gohan, and it's Cell Max who did it. And he saw an opportunity, and he blitzes Piccolo and knocks him out of the way before elbowing Gohan in the opposite direction.
Huh? A sensu bean?
And this is Krillin who sees it. And then it shows Cell Max grabbing both Krillin and 18, or not grabbing them, but slapping them away with extreme force. And then Gohan gets up and immediately flies. The last sensu! And as he flies after it, he gets stopped because Cell Max grabs his legs before he can even fly over and even touch it. It's midair. It's literally a foot in front of him, and Cell Max grabs him at that speed and proceeds to slam him into the ground. Hard enough to knock Gohan out of his Super Saiyan form. And then we get Bulma, who's supposed to be there with Pan, but Pan is gone.
Are they gonna pull this off? How you doing, Pan? Did you get hurt earlier? Huh? Where's Pan?
And as this fighting continues, Gohan is buried under some rubble just a little bit in his regular state. And we see the sensu bean bounce off of a building and getting closer and closer to the big ravine that leads deeper underground. You know, where it's going to be literally impossible to find the sensu bean at that point. No, I'll never find it in that abyss. And as he tries to get up, something runs past him. And it's Pan.
Yeah!
Huh? Pan? Oh no. And she jumps after the sensu bean that topples off of the building. And then it shows Pan flying. She's flying. Huh? You're flying. Wow, Pan.
I'm doing it! Daddy, I got the sensu! Catch!
And Pan just tosses over the sensu bean over to Gohan, who easily catches it. Thanks, Pan. And then she's just smiling at her father. And he gulps it down and he's powered up. Gohan's got the Senzu Bean power! By the power of magic beans, he has the power! I'm sorry, I was watching some He-Man stuff earlier this week. That's been on my mind for a hot minute. Tell Bulma to move the ship a little farther away and wait with her.
Okay, Daddy. Fight real hard, okay?
And then he just gives a thumbs up to his daughter and he flies off with renewed strength. Ooh, and we got a nice double spread panel here. Giant Piccolo, 18 Krillin, and Gamma 1, along with Fat Tanks, all facing down the one-armed Cell Max. Piccolo comes in and then just delivers a drop kick to, not a double drop kick, but just like a standard kick to the face to Cell Max. And then he hits Cell Max directly in his midsection with like one spinning kick. And then Piccolo continues to beat up on Cell Max and hits him right in the back of the neck. But it's not enough to knock him down, and he retaliates by hitting Piccolo directly in his abdomen, directly in his chest with one fist. You know, the one that's still there. The other one, he's just hitting Piccolo with like his stub and his elbow. And then he jumps up and beats on Piccolo on the beats on Piccolo's back, and then just embeds him deeper and deeper into the ground, like Hulk smashing him into the ground. Not to the degree that Broly would do, but just hitting him repeatedly with his one arm. Then he takes Then Cell Max takes Piccolo's face and starts dragging him through the ground. And it's just a big old montage of fighting between Piccolo and Cell Max. And Cell Max throws away Piccolo, and Piccolo manages to right himself as Cell Max is getting close. But before that happened, Piccolo's right behind Cell Max and tries to hit Cell Max in the face with like a handheld burst. And there's an explosion on Cell Max's face, and there's smoke coming from it. But it's not enough. And before Cell Max can do anything to Piccolo, Gohan flies up and uppercuts Cell Max with enough force to send Cell Max flying. And then Gohan starts shooting ki blasts all at Cell Max. And Cell Max is just barraged by all these shots. To the point where he starts hitting Cell Max through the building from all these shots. Yeah, Gohan is definitely back with this renewed strength. And then he charges up one big blast and throws it at Cell Max.
Huddle up, everyone, goes Piccolo. Gohan.
Yeah?
I'll do whatever it takes to knock that overgrown oaf to the ground. When the moment's right, you fire off a blast, a Kamehameha or whatever, straight through his head, with every last bit of power you've charged up.
Got it.
Are you really hearing me? Every last bit. Hold nothing back. All your strength in one doozy of an attack.
Okay. But before they could really get a moment to breathe, an enormous amount of power just erupts from where Cell Max was launched into. And we see Cell Max raising into the air with all this power coursing around him as Piccolo goes,
"Here he comes!"
As we see Cell Max's face and all this power emanating from him as he raises out of the ground. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of Chapter 98 of Dragon Ball Super. We are getting ever closer and closer to the end of this because, I mean, it's really just the extended look of the superhero movie. Not saying that the superhero movie was bad, but we're getting closer to it. I mean, if you watch the movie, you kind of have like a good feeling of where this chapter is about to end. But a lot of good moments, especially Gohan getting his power back thanks to Pan learning how to fly in this most desperate of moments. So now Pan can fly. And now we have Piccolo, who's enlarged and orange, along with Krillin, 18, Fat Tanks, Gamma 1, a powered up Gohan thanks to the Senzu Bean, and versus Cell Max. Bulma staying on the outskirts along with Pan because that's what Gohan told him to do. But we're getting closer and closer to the end of Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Now, who's this? The only time will tell when if the next chapter is going to show the new thing for a certain someone. Only time will tell, and we'll probably find out next month. But I mean, we're getting closer and closer. Now, my question is, what's all going to change once we come out of this arc? Because let's not forget, before we even went to this time skip, Frieza came in and one-shot Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta. Literally at the height of their the most powerful that Goku and Vegeta have ever been, and Frieza in his new black form one-shot them both. The question is, how much stronger is Goku and Vegeta going to be once we start getting into arcs about them again? Lot of things I can bring up, but we'll have to save it for much later. Overall, I can say that I like this chapter. I'm also looking forward to the next one to see how much further it's going to push the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, whether the next chapter will be the last one or the second to last one. Because honestly, we don't have that many more chapters of this particular, sorry, hit my mic. We don't have that many chapters for this particular arc to go through. We don't have long. So it's after this arc is done that makes me wonder where the future of Dragon Ball Super is going to go. But I'm done. Don't want to drag this out any more than I already have. Apologies for this being late in the day. I truly and deeply apologize for being late and not paying attention. I'll do better next time. But to everyone, hope y'all enjoy. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.